Hello, ladies. 5-minute lives. Might just wait a minute, see if anyone comes on. Shifting it up a little bit today. Doing it at 6. I normally have my group coaching program on a Tuesday. Which is why you don't ever see me at this time doing lives. Anybody coming on? I hope so. I hope someone will come on. It's more fun. Oh, hello, Rach. I was just saying, I really hope someone comes on. Not that I can't do it without someone, but it's just more fun. You can feel the vibes coming through. Hi. Oh, something in my eye. How you doing? Hopefully you can hear me okay. Lizzie, yay. I will just give it another couple of minutes because these lives are short. So if someone just misses the beginning, they can always watch the replay, of course. This one's going to be juicy. Hi. I'm going to do 2, actually, 1 and 2. Triggering, the truth about people that trigger you, and also abandonment, because those 2 things are interlinked. They are very much connected. And I think the third one, codependency, because it's such a big topic and one of something I'm really passionate about, one of the many topics that I'm really passionate about. Actually, I'm passionate about all the topics, but codependency is one of my jams. Okay, 1 more minute. They're all my jams. I love all the topics. And they're all weaved in and interlinked. Nothing is in a vacuum or in its own entirety. It's all connected to the same thing. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. Where is let me just grab my drink and then I'm gonna jump in. Oh, sorry. Oh, here it is. Okay. All right, so points 1 and 2 were the truth about people who trigger you. The truth about people who trigger you, and hi, Kate. Oh, mwah, lovely Rose. The truth about people who trigger you is this. They are a match for you. You are a match for them. You cannot bring someone into your field who isn't in some form of alignment with you. And the person that's triggering you is a match for what's beneath the trigger. So this is not like, because you won't see, you'll be like, I don't see myself in them. I fucking hate them, or I can't stand them, or X, Y, Z. But you've got to think in terms of frequency, energy, and vibration. The person that is triggering you, you are a match for whatever they are triggering under the surface, because you cannot trigger what isn't there. Hear it again, you cannot trigger what isn't there. So that person is coming into your field or is in your field for a reason. This is your movie, remember. No one is there by accident. And especially not the people that trigger you. They have great purpose in your life, because you will never get to know your authentic self until you unearth every trigger that's in you, because that's what the trigger is hiding. The trigger is a layer of fear that is on top of your authentic light. You have to think of this well. And at the bottom of this well is this endless source of infinite light that is you, that is your essence, that's being projected into your physical body. And on top of that well, there is layer upon layer upon layer upon layer of dirt, dust, muck, all the crap, all the unprocessed, unmet fears, the internalized stories and lies and fears and tears, everything on top of that. And each one of those layers has a little thread that pops up to the top. And when that person comes along and tugs on that thread, it triggers that layer. That's what's happening, right? And so I'm seeing, I can see it actually as I talk about the well. It's like we bring people into this well, into this space, and people pull these threads. If they're aligned with that thread, oh, I've got goosebumps. If they're aligned with that particular layer, as in there's something inside of them that aligns with that layer in you, they pull that thread from the top of the well. And the problem is that your consciousness, if your consciousness is at the top of the well without seeing what's underneath and seeing the big picture, and you're just seeing the opening of the well without realizing what's down there, you're going to start blaming the person that's pulling the string, because that thread is triggering something that's uncomfortable in you, and you're just going to think, what the fuck? I don't want this. I don't want this person. But when you zoom out from the bigger picture and you see that what they're tugging on ties in nicely to that layer. So no one can be in your field that triggers you, that you didn't attract, that you don't have resonance with. And the mistake that you're making is you're believing that who you are, how you feel, how you think is just going to be, you are the person that holds all those triggers. You're not. The journey is revealing all of those layers. And how do you reveal them? You reveal them by someone pulling the string, because otherwise you don't know they're there. And the mistake that you make is you thinking that you will always be the person that when that person or that thing comes across your path, you will always be triggered, because that's just who I am. That's just how I feel. That's just what I think. No, that is a layer of fear that is trapped, that's hiding your authentic light. And if you're pushing for that light, if you're driving for awakening and you're driving for expansion and you want to step into this amazing person that you can be, and you had snippets of it here and you've read about it there and you felt a little bit of here, and you want this amazing relationship and you want this amazing life and you want this amazing business, you need to know what the fuck is down there. And you need to remove everything that is standing in the way, because you will only attract those things. And you will only be able to create that magic and have that, whatever it is that you want, from the energy of the authentic core. Because if you're manifesting from any of those layers at any point in that well, you're always going to be vulnerable to what is between the layer that you're at and the core that you have. And you're going to come tumbling down. And that's exactly what happens. You climb up a bit and then someone tugs a string and you go tumbling down, tumbling down. Now, when you don't have that trigger, it is not to say that that person isn't annoying or isn't irritating or X, Y, and Z. But actually, they don't even become that. You'll avoid them, because here's another thing about triggers. Triggers are showing you where you don't have boundaries. Triggers are showing you where you let someone in, or you putting up with something because you don't want to rock the boat, you don't want to say the thing, you don't want to have the conversation, you don't want to be judged, you don't want to come across as, and so you don't do anything, you just allow it. You walk on eggshells, you're too scared to say anything, or X, Y, and Z. And that's what gets you. That's the part that gets you, is that you consistently keep bringing that into your field. So where does that tie in with abandonment? It ties in with abandonment because abandonment is a story, and it will have numerous triggers that trigger that story. And remember, this is your movie. And you can't have what you don't believe in. And you can only manifest what you do believe in. And so, two things with abandonment. One is you are manifesting people, experiences, situations that allow that story of you being abandoned to unfold. So the people are perfect. They can't not be, because there's only alignment. So you might bring someone into your field that seems amazing, and then they leave. That's the story, and you have this I'm feeling abandoned all over again. However, it couldn't be any other way, because with that story from that movie, you can't bring someone in that doesn't align with the story of abandonment. And if you do some work and you get some things happening and you have some expansion, you're going to sabotage that so that the movie continues to play from the same script. Oh, sorry, there's messages come through my phone and they're distracting me. From the same script, in the same way, so that you can keep telling the story I've been abandoned. The truth is, there is no abandonment. It doesn't exist. Why? Because you can't abandon the soul, the spirit, the essence. You can only abandon the story. You can only be out of alignment with the frequencies to stay and in alignment with the frequencies to go. And if you have a story of abandonment, you will manipulate those frequencies so that those frequencies align with the frequency of leaving, the frequency of failing, the frequency of being let down, being disappointed. And you'll call it abandonment because that's your story, that's your experience, that's how it feels in your system, right? But it only feels like that because in the moment that you first decided you were abandoned, you locked in that feeling with that story. And what wires together, fires together. So every time something happens that's in alignment, that you created, that you brought into your field, that matches that story, it fires up, it triggers up that feeling and that thought. And you think it's true because you felt it all those times before. And the first time you felt it, that's what you decided it was. And therefore, you made it your truth. That feeling equals. But that's the illusion. It's an illusion. There is no abandonment. You cannot abandon the soul, the spirit. In fact, the only person who can abandon, and this is why it's so painful, is you. Because in the moment that you tell that story, you are turning your back on your truth, and you are turning your back on yourself, and you are turning your back on the laws, the spiritual laws of the universe. And that's why it's so painful. And you equate that pain meaning that, hey, it's true, but it's not. It's all that's true is you've just manifested the same story. You've just manifested the same reality. And this, and I have to leave you with this, is why these two things are so intertwined. Is because that abandonment story lives above your authentic self. And every layer on top of that has a trigger blocks you from releasing that story. And this is why those triggers are gifts, because each time one of those strings gets pulled, if you know how to let that go and release it, and you know what it is and how to work it through, eventually there comes a time when that string is pulled from the well, and with it is the layer. And as I say that, I imagine, you know those, I don't know what it is, those games or whatever, you pull something and it slots down and it's like Candy Crush, I think that's what it's called, something like that. That's what I'm seeing in my mind. It's like the one layer goes and it drops down and it drops down and it drops down. And one day, you are going to get to that layer. You're going to get to that layer, and all those triggers are going to be gone, and all that story is going to be gone. And that is when you show up as your authentic self. And there is no well, and there are no strings, and there are no layers. There's just people with their own wells, and their own strings, and their own stories, and they're all pulling each other's. They're all over each other's wells, pulling at each other's strings, blaming each other, unaware to what's actually really happening, to they've created their own movie and their own misery. I hope that makes sense. Deep stuff. But tomorrow night I'm going to be coming at you with the codependency stuff, because that deserves a live all by itself. It's powerful stuff. And of course, all this knowledge builds upon. Hope you enjoyed it. Mwah. Talk soon. Bye.